Okay.
Yeah, I'll call you back.
All right, so I can just at least do a reading. Reading of the notice of meeting. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Library Board of Trustees was sent by email to our official newspapers, the Asbury Park Press and the Coast-Star. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Pat, would you like to do roll call? You want me to do it? Okay.
Okay, Judy Alvarez. Bruce.
Present.
Okay. And Casey's not, and Darlene is.
Present.
I'm here. Johanna. Here. Michael.
Very good. Okay, before we do an approval of the minutes, there were two little errors that I found, but they're minuscule in the minutes before we approve them. I was actually here, whereas Johanna was Zoomed, so we just switched the order of that. Not that that's major, but just letting you know. And then under old business on page 3, it was the Neptune Library has volunteers that are the tax assistants. Remember how we were talking about it's a take that should be taxed, that's all. So it was just, and they're still doing it, I believe, till April 15th, I believe.
Yeah, and I'll bring it up.
Okay.
Yep.
So now can I have a move for approval with the changes?
Has
Move.
this changes been made?
Yep, I'll make that motion.
Okay, and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we were supposed to have a guest speaker today. Unfortunately, he's not able to make it. Hopefully, he'll make the next
Yeah, so we
meeting.
just wanted to apologize. John is the librarian from Neptune. He's going to be working on our strategic plan, helping us with policies. His circulation desk came in, was supposed to come in 2 days ago, just came in a few hours ago, and he's having some construction problems, so he's couldn't make it. He apologizes. He did come to our staff meeting and met the staff, but he will be here at the next meeting.
All right, update.
Okay. A few items just in terms of the survey. If you're not familiar, each year Lewis fills out the survey. I'll tell you, when I first started, I thought it was where all of our funds came from. So I thought, it's worth my time. It's actually takes hours upon hours, and it's really less than 1% of our revenue, but everybody does in the state. It's requirement, so we do it. So some of the things that we need, if you have any trainings from 2022, I received some emails that you did. Please send me email. Lewis sent around a sheet. If you could just make sure your addresses, emails are, just make sure they're correct. You have to have that in the survey. Lewis is going to go over some items from the survey in terms of numbers, but I would just ask that really you should always be looking this, at a baseline and then comparing it to the previous year. We really can't compare it to the previous year because of the pandemic. So this is kind of our baseline. That's the way I see it. But if you do want to know the numbers from the previous year, Lewis can give it to you. He's going to review some of those things for you, and I just want to thank Lewis for going through this. He worked with John. I thought he was going to need a lot of John's help with this, and he really did. He needed some questions answered, but he did it very similar that he did the year before. So Lewis, I really appreciate your time and effort in doing the survey. As I said last time, John will be working on a strategic plan, but also to develop policies for the library. It's something that we don't have here, we should have, and it's going to be a big project. But years ago, you probably had policies in a book. Now we will have them somehow online, and the public would be able to see them at any time, just like the school district. There's a system called Strauss Esme that does that, and I'm sure there's a company that we will find help us as well, and keep it online. Just keep it as a link on the website, so if anyone ever has a question, the public, they really should always know, what does your policy say? And we should say the same thing. Same thing, just so you a reminder, the strategic plan is really going to be trying to get as much information from all the stakeholders in the community. Not just the patrons that are here all the time, but how are we going to get the information with the survey out to people that are not coming to the library, what we need to improve upon from our staff, from our board, from the employees. And so he's done a great job working with some organizations, and that's been a choice, so I'm looking forward to that. So again, he will be here next time. I apologize for not being here. In terms of the capital plan, always want to see things moving forward, right? Because it hasn't been for years. So we've had 2 window companies that have come and done measurements, and it's Anderson and it wasn't Pella. Pella's coming in a few days. I'm sorry, it's on my phone, but I don't have it in front of me. But we have 4
Is that the one
companies.
that began with an M?
Yes.
Marvin?
Yes,
Marvin.
that's it.
Yeah.
All right.
Bruce.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
Yeah, Marvin's located, they have a branch in Asbury, which is nice for
Okay.
us too.
So that's moving forward, and you know, I've been talking to Jerry and Anthony about how quickly we can get the bidding process started with that. In terms of things I need from you, also financial disclose statement that you've done in the past. I'll send you an email with the link. If you have any questions to it, it's a little bit confusing sometimes, the questions, the way it asks you to do it. The school didn't know you had to do it as a board member. It's just making sure that you're not benefiting from anything by being on this board. There's no companies that you're getting contracts or something and you're not getting paid, or it's things you invest in, and so.
And that's due April 15th.
Yes, so I'll get that to you tomorrow. I'll send it.
Okay.
Just receive it.
And if you're new, you might have to get a PIN from April.
Yes, and I have the PIN numbers
Okay.
for Casey and Mike. I have them
Thank
in
you.
the email.
Perfect.
And if you don't have the PIN numbers, I'll probably don't.
It kind of
Yeah,
says.
oh, it gives it to you?
Yeah, we can do Belmar 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, all right, great. I talked about the survey, the 3,000. The budget, I did meet with our CFO, with Lorraine. A little concerned with what we had in the budget with the increased costs. So one thing that we were able to do in this budget, but we're going to go over the line items next time as a board. But remember, we don't really, there's nothing that the board decides on in terms of what the budget, total budget is, because it's 1/3 of the bill. That's required by law. 786,808.20 cents. Last year was 684,677. So as the property values go up, you know, so does the revenue coming in by law. We had $170,000 approximately that rolled over. We have about 43 that's encumbered to work with our architect and engineer for next year, and we have 170, yes, that rolled over, and 230 in this year's budget, which is a lot more than the previous budget. So we have 400,000. I'm hoping that we don't have to, obviously we have to take the lowest bidder, that it wouldn't be anywhere close to that, but I just wanted to make sure that we would roll that money into the following year that we have to bring some front door. So I'll be going over those specific line items. I just met with her today, but just wanted to give you a ballpark for now. In terms of, Sharon had asked me to research the tax, having your taxes done by AARP. They're doing that in Neptune. It's a great program. Anyone can go. I thought it might be based on age or but the only thing they will not do is if you have your private business and you've lost money, or you're involved in rental properties. Other than those 2 things, they will do your taxes.
Great.
For free. Yeah, and they have to be trained every year. They're not CPAs, but they have to be trained by an organization that the IRS approves. So it's not just, so it's through AARP that has this organization that then the IRS trains these people.
Do you have that on the schedule?
We have it on our website. We
Uh,
have it
no.
upstairs in a flyer, but we can do that, yeah.
Okay.
Put that, yeah. The next meeting is April 17th for everyone. And at this time, I was hoping Lois, do you mind? You can kind of go over the numbers.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, I was putting together the survey. I have to submit various statistics to the library's performance. I was able to compile and put together a summary of those statistics and just pass it around. So everyone have a copy. And I do have last year's figures for a lot of these, so if you can answer, so I can give them to you. Top line is we have 4,192 library card holders, of which 3,500 are Belmar residents, 506 are non-residents. Okay. The last two pages are an actual breakdown of of what towns the non-residents are from and how many. None surprisingly, Lake Como is the largest one at 191. So, so obviously the vast bulk are Belmar residents. Now that number is big because there's a lot of these are actually inactive. They're old accounts that have not, people moved on. A lot of them are kids that has gone on to high school and they don't come using it. So we're going to be looking into a program of how we can purge these numbers down to a more accurate number of active users. Total library visits overall was 13,131. That includes everything from attending programs, all the concerts, or how many times a book was checked out, how many times computers were used, and some other estimations based on observations and stuff like that. So that is an increase of 5,300 over last year, and last year being 2021, and that's mainly because 2021 we still partially closed due to the pandemic. Total website visits across both old and new sites were 39,852. There is a huge difference in the use of the website from the old site, which was still live until May, to when the new site went live. And the big difference really is in how long a user is on the site, how many pages per visit. And it jumped from 5 pages per visit to like 50 pages per visit. So in other words, they're coming onto the website, they're actually staying on the website, they're exploring it longer. So, which is good, so that means we're giving them the information, and it's something they're willing to actually sit and explore, which is good. Programs, as you can see, actually the number of computer patrons, people who use it is just over 2,000. That's how many times our EnvisionWare software tracks that, and that gives me the number right off the bat. So that showed a huge improvement over last year, again, partially because of the pandemic, but also because last year was the last year we actually used a paper sign-in sheet, and that turned out to be not as accurate as the EnvisionWare was. The number of programs, you can see a breakdown of how many events and how many attendance based on category of age group. Huge improvement over there. That was a grand total of about 3,312 people attended a program of sort, whether it be a concert, Chinese New Year, story time, author times, anything like that. So we had an increase of over 1,100 over the previous year as well. We did 24 events that were recorded onto Facebook and to YouTube, and of those, there were 10,700 views online of our content, and about 119 of them were actually live, watching live as the event was going on. Okay. Circulation of physical items, 6,701, that's books, audiobooks, DVDs, things like that. That's a big increase over the previous year of 2,069 additional circulating items. Interlibrary loan was 194. Total electronic circulation of ebooks, audiobooks, Hoopla, Libby, things like that, that was 3,677 total items downloaded and used. And our collections currently consist of 14,375. That's actually less than last year. And the reason why is because we have, over the course of last year, we have purged out a lot of beat up old materials, a lot of outdated stuff, and we're only now in the process of rebuilding that back up with fresher, more current items. We had acquired this year 766 physical items, new books, new audiobooks, new DVDs to our collection, and which is in line with the previous year. The previous year we did 750. We got a handful more. So this year I anticipate that to be maybe a lot more, because we're going to be doing a lot. We're taking advantage of our leasing programs and making sure we're getting the most out of what we're entitled to get. So we'll see a lot of increase there. Anybody have any questions on anything?
No, I teased Louis when I looked at the numbers, he shared them with me earlier, and I was like, look at all these out-of-towners. But I figured there were a lot of the seasonals, right, the seasonal ones. Because I said, I'd like to know who's coming here from, like, Connecticut, Stanford.
Yeah.
This summer.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. That's cool.
Uncategorized are those who, for whatever reason, we did not capture what town they're in. Okay. So, Wall, there's 53 from Wall,
Which I thought was interesting.
and Neptune is 74.
I find surprising.
Right, because I was wondering what their patron, their out-of-town rate might be. Like maybe it's higher than ours, which is 25, for in other words, if you're not a resident.
Right.
So if theirs is maybe 35 or 50,
Right. Yeah.
let's
I'll
say,
do some
let's go.
research on that.
Yeah.
I do think the better numbers will be once the system's gonna be able to show us who hasn't been here for 3 years, and then when we get those numbers and we show them to you, that will give us a real good, this is just the first start.
It's the first.
Putting it in the survey, we should show it.
Now, as an aside, you should know that to make my life easier next year, I put together an event tracker form on our Google Forms, Google Docs section, where as events occur, I'll be able to record all this information individually, so we'll have a much more accurate picture next year as to attendance and what the events were and all that other stuff. Speaking of programs, stuff like that, a reminder that this Thursday is the Irish celebration. We are maxed out on our standard white soda bread contest. I had to disappoint 7 people today and send out, unfortunately, they registered too late. So I invited them to convert
Tell them to bring the brown.
I told
He
them
wants
that.
healthy bread.
Yeah, I told them to switch to brown. If not, they can do that. Some have, some we'll see. We have about 8 for brown. So the trophies, I just got the word, are in, so we can get them tomorrow. And we are currently have about 88 people registered to attend the event. But,
What time?
5:30 at Taylor Pavilion, Thursday. All 4 judges are ready to go.
People stopped me already today asking me about, are they having refreshment,
Ah, okay, so that's a good.
So let me take care of that, since it's gonna be heated
Yeah.
topic. So as we talked about last time, first of all, in terms of liquids, it will only be water, not iced tea or anything. Smaller containers, so we don't have so many water bottles that
Right.
are wasted, that. So it's water,
Good.
soda bread, and some small sandwiches. We're not gonna be doing meals anymore. It's gonna be, the idea is gonna be cultural appetizers, things like that. We want people to come for the cultural event, for the music, for the competition this year, and not just to come for a meal. And it gets expensive. So we will still have food, but it won't be, so spread the word. And did you get that out in terms of, probably not yet been so busy, in terms of telling people that it won't be a meal, right? It did say refreshments.
I just said refreshments
Yeah,
only, and only while supplies last.
Yeah, so,
Would you like me to bring my green food dice, and you can put a drop in each water bottle? Have something green?
Oh, I don't know if you want.
so there will probably be some.
She bring it to take care of that, the whole town green.
Chicago.
So if you do get asked, and I'm sure there will be some people complaining, you can either send them to me and I'll explain, or if you could just say what I just said, but it's not that we're being cheap, it's just it's expensive. And the other thing is, we had more than 200 people there for Chinese New Year. I think 200 is the largest that we can, and the lines, waiting in lines for the food, we're gonna bring food out to the tables, correct?
Yes.
So,
Yeah, we bring the food out to the table.
Yeah.
I was working out the whole plan for the
Shop,
event
right.
and everything, so, we call it the shopping.
Yep.
And that's about it. Has anybody had in the last minute questions, comments about the numbers? Thank you.
For helpers.
I can never have too much help, so please,
If you could, then.
be there.
Do you have to break the numbers down by like categories, so children's lit versus adult or young fiction, or you just?
Well, no, it was only just basically whatever the program was. Like say, for example,
For items, so like physical items.
yes, there is a breakdown of.
Not that I need to know, I'm just curious.
Let's send it.
But
I can get that
that's
to
the
you.
question, we have a detailed inventory by
Yeah.
subgenres.
Genres.
Right.
Of how many titles we have in a particular category. in
Or
terms of-
like adult versus young adult versus children's.
Yeah, there is a breakdown, in terms of circulation or in terms of collection?
Yes.
Collection.
Okay, consolidation.
Circulation, yes, there are a number of circulation, in fact, I have that right here, so I'll tell you really fast.
Inventory and circulation are obviously things of equal interest.
Yeah.
So, for circulation is,
And we have the same system that we have followed, so, you know how to use it, we could give you that
for
password.
circulation, 4,289 adults, 2,412 children. And children is anything, young adult. That's what I have. For circulation, I don't have a current breakdown, it's collection, I don't believe. I'll do it real fast.
I don't think they asked that question, do
I don't think so.
they? Well, we can get that followed.
Collection. No, it's just a grand total, that's all.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Compare it to your, well, you have own children, but it by,
Professional
by
development.
young adult to children, I'm sure you probably,
Very little.
yeah, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, treasurer's report.
So, the budget I was given, we're still operating on a temporary budget. It hasn't, our budget hasn't been placed yet, so. The budget amount was $194,700. Spent to date was $67,656.03. Waiting to pay the vendor was $6,015.45. So the total of spent to date and waiting to pay vendor was $73,671.49, which gives us a total of $121,028.51, which we've spent 38% of the budget.
But just a reminder,
But that's-
yeah, that's not the really 38%, it's only 38% of 25%. Yeah, because last year we.
Quarterly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, no, once the budget is approved, then if the whole budget goes in, and then it's not 25%. And last year, we spent approximately 65% of the budget amount, which was the 684%. We spent about 65% at the end of the whole year.
questions regarding the treasurer's report? Okay, my report. A couple of suggestions I've offered to both Louis as well as to Dave. One of them was, I know we have a lot of DVDs that are older, and so one of the suggestions I'd said, since Jack Preston had made the little libraries, I thought maybe that might be a nice thing to put some of the DVDs that we're not using anymore, that have not circulated for X period of time, whatever we decide, 3 years, whatever. I'm sure there's families in town that don't have all the streaming services, but they might have a DVD player. So that's something that they can show to the kids, or maybe for adults, whatever. In regards to the old Pella window quote, I know that we had only talked about the 2 large windows, but I know that they had measured the other windows as well. So I wanted to make sure that the engineers knew to ask them when they go for it. They had their measurements. In other words, when they came here, they only gave us the quotes for the 2 big windows, but they had measured the others as well, correct?
Right, but remember, the engineers measured everything themselves as well, put it digitally.
Right.
So they will look at that, but they're also, yeah, they might not have to measure, they're coming, so I don't know if they're gonna measure or they'll keep what they have, but I'll show them that.
I'd be interested in knowing if it's the same gentleman,
Yeah.
Ryan Knapp, I think was the,
Was that an email you sent me?
Yes.
His name on it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll check.
okay.
Yeah.
I noticed that the library's Facebook posting for the soda bread always caught my eye. When everything comes from the library, I'm like, yes, I put a little check on it just to show that I'm looking at it. But I noticed it hadn't been on the other 2 sites, which were the Belmar locals only. I think you posted it in one. So I just copied it and reposted it on the other 2.
That's cool.
Because I know that, remember we had at one point where one of the administrators said they only wanted so many per month. And I said, well, if I send it, it's not coming from you.
Yeah,
So we should be okay that way.
I don't think we're dealing with that person.
I think that person's still there.
You see?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I think now that they realize.
It's not Joe McAvoy, is it?
No,
No.
no.
It's another person, I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, it's what
I haven't
that is.
heard from that person.
Yeah, no, so I think we're doing well with that aspect. I was wondering if, because I know we were doing, I was looking at your Facebook and YouTube live events. I was wondering, can we use Facebook Live as well as YouTube Live? They both have the live capability as well.
Simultaneously?
No, one or the other.
Oh, yeah, well, what do you mean use it?
Well, I'll probably get to it better, but I was mentioning, for example, I know with some of the exercise classes we have, like I can't physically sometimes get here, but I would do them at home.
Okay.
So like chair yoga or something else that I could do at home instead of coming here to the library to do it. So I was wondering if maybe we can't do it Zoom, could we do it either through Facebook Live or YouTube Live?
Good night, Anna. Thank you.
Good night.
We could. We've done other events, like say oftentimes live with the cam that we have. So yeah, that's there's no reason why we can't do that.
I was just wondering if that might help, because I know certain classes that I've walked in on, I see the numbers are small, but I'm wondering if they'd be larger if more people were participating at home.
One of the challenges that we had when we did it before is the sound and video quality of the broadcast. Video not so much, but the sound, because the microphone on the phone, which we is not that great. But there are devices that we can get that would make a much better experience that I can
Because I thought that might
Something
help.
easy, better audio widens our reach.
Yeah.
That was investigation.
Exactly. I mean, I'm looking into the Zoom room capability for this, and that could be helpful for that, because that captures the entire room with much better audio quality and video quality too.
If we had that would be used by the entire community too.
Yeah.
What about offering the price for that night, like at like a 6, for people who would like to come but they work?
Yeah, I think we can give it a try. Most of, I mean, to me, that's, one of the reasons we're staying open to 7 is that not, we've always been focused on, which we should, on our seniors and our children, but to the adults that are working during the day, we can give it a try. I don't know. I wouldn't think that we would have a lot, but let's give it a try. We
Yeah,
can give it a try.
maybe a 5:30 when I know,
5:30.
yeah, because I
Yeah,
know
I
it's
mean-
dinner time, but like a 5:30.
Yeah, we have to be careful with this. We can't really have things with a lot of movement and a lot of jumping or on this surface here, So that's why if it's
But
more
chair yoga
movement
you could
and
do.
Yeah.
because that was a sitting one.
Yeah.
And then I
We used to
said,
do yoga here, we put down plastic mats, there's plastic puzzle pieces here, we did
Yeah.
yoga, like 25 of us my age, did regular yoga on this floor for
Yeah.
months and months and months and months and months,
Yeah.
years.
Question, you are videotaping to get them any kind of waiver for people that are here? You know, some people might have issues being videotaped.
We would have to look into
Yeah,
that.
we would.
Yeah.
well, we were talking about a policy that might have to be,
Well, we'd have to have a good,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, and it could be, I mean, you would think you wouldn't mind, because it would probably be facing the other way, but there could be someone that doesn't want, that as a challenge.
Right.
because I think meditation, I think you had a passcode for the meditation one, so
Yeah.
that's already being utilized, right?
As long as you set the camera up just for the instructor, everybody else
Yeah.
will be locked out.
That's true.
Because the instructor's facing this way and everyone's facing
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
way.
you have the camera.
Yeah.
Curiosity, I mean, why couldn't you just videotape these sessions and then have them on demand, so you wouldn't have 5:30, do them on 30?
Just
Well,
something
the
to-
live, in a sense, we do that, because the lives are available on demand. Okay, what I do is I try to take the live and I will download them and then re-upload them to YouTube, and they're available back.
Right.
So they can watch on demand. But that's something I haven't done of late, so I can restart that.
I don't know if that would have to change your approach to videotaping or something.
Well, yeah, it does change it a little bit, but not by much, you know, it's really not that big a deal. It's just a matter of, it's behind the scenes, it's the actual act of the time it takes to download a video, edit it properly, to put it online, because you don't want to put it just a live, raw recording up, you know, it's always a little bit of a,
Something a little bit more.
it can be.
Draws upon.
That's why our new associate Bruce is going to be well trained in these things.
Cool, not that Bruce.
Now that, sorry.
Absolutely.
Nothing personal, right, Bruce? Nothing personal.
That'll be the first, right?
I also wanted to know, are we actively using at all, I'm just asking because I'm not on either of these, Twitter or Instagram?
Well, Twitter, no. We do have a Twitter account. It does exist. I'm not using it. Instagram, it's tied to our Facebook so that when we post onto Facebook, it automatically goes onto our Instagram. So we have about a couple of hundred followers on Instagram. On Facebook, we have over 1,000.
When
So
I go to Instagram, it might be more with the teens, you know, older.
the thing is, I don't understand Instagram. And that's the.
Good thing
Bruce,
about
I
it.
think Bruce, I was about to say
Gotta
Bruce.
get
would probably-
Bruce,
Yes.
yeah,
We get Bruce on that.
Twitter, I don't think, you know.
Yeah,
Twitter's
I think it's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But definitely,
Definitely
Instagram,
Instagram,
that's what I
yeah.
thought too.
Yeah.
more so, I think, even in Facebook.
Good faith, that's what I thought
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, so, I'll get Bruce
Just
on
with the
that.
demographics, I think that there's, you know, that middle group there, the 30 to, or 25 to 40.
Danielle's a lot younger than
Yeah, ain't none of us at that age.
I'm quickly approaching out of that bracket.
I know that the Women in History post is coming up, so I want to ask about that, yeah.
we're.
I did loan 3 books on women in history to the children's section, which I really like. They're called She Persisted.
Yes.
They're all done by Chelsea Clinton. There's one international one, there's one, I think, Olympians. There's a third one. I bought all 3 for my daughter. I just thought they were just so well done. It's a 1-pager. You look at it, you can find out just some general information, and that kind of piques your interest into wanting to know more about other people. So I wanted to see if maybe we can consider getting.
We could showcase it upstairs.
They're already showcased.
Yeah, I dropped them off
Yeah,
earlier,
so-
but I thought maybe we could order them for the library so that we have our own, these are my own copies.
Oh,
there.
these are your.
Oh,
okay.
I thought
My
you-
copies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, we better make sure we didn't already enter them into the system.
No, I did tell them, my name was in it, my phone
Okay.
number, the whole thing, I was like, these are coming back
Hannah
to
and
me.
Deborah are like boom, 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 you know.
Okay,
Generous.
yeah.
Yeah, I love them, you're very familiar with those books too, so, I was very pleased to see that the bilingual books have been added to the children's section, and so I'm hoping that we'll have some adult books ordered. I did kind of talk to someone in our audience there see if we could get some, because I don't know, and I don't know if any of us know, what would be of interest to our bilingual adults. What would they be interested in reading? You know, I don't know. And I might pick the wrong book, you know, I'm teasing Danielle, I might be picking up some like vampire one where, you know, you're stabbing someone or whatever. So I think maybe, you know, maybe there's some popular, you know, authors that are out there that we could maybe get a couple of books and see if we can entice them to come into the library and use our library for those as well. We have a device that was used for students, patrons, I'm sorry, that had visual difficulties using Braille and things like that. I know it's been probably put aside for a while, but I'm wondering if we can maybe, is Claire still involved with that group, Claire Dyke, was she the one?
She was involved with the ADA committee, and I had visited with them to talk about this. And right now, that old device has since been retired and it's recycled. It was just way out of date, and it was actually more of a hindrance because it was so out of date. I mean, you look at this thing, it looks like something you see in an airport like in the '60s, you know.
Wasn't it like the old microfiche thing when you
Yeah,
like fiche it and you would kind of read a newspaper article from like the 30s or something?
So Dave and I had looked into this, and we can get a modern 24-inch, you know, full thing, all the bells and whistles. It's going to cost about $3,500, $1,200. But what that does is that it allows someone to put color or black and white underneath. The camera scans it and then puts it on the screen real large. You can zoom in around, full color, you know, 4K resolution, you know, and it allows the user to read fine print. And there's actually enough room underneath if you wanted to do like little fine things that requires like fingertips like that. I mean, the joke that I say is that you could actually do your fingernails. And so, things like that, right? So it's a great device to have. It's something, the only question there is that usage of the device.
That was my next question.
We have to, one of the things that we need
Use
to,
for it.
one of the things that we need to determine is what is the need in our community for that device.
So that could be one of the survey questions.
Yes, you know,
Yep.
you know, and if we could reach out to other libraries that may be disposing of an older one, that's
Or
still
see if
kinda
theirs
nice.
is even being used. You know, we really need to.
We did research
Oh,
that.
yeah, they're not being used at all.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean, we should, you know, do our best to.
See if there's a need for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we really have to search and not just think. It's kind of like searching for children that have special needs in the community. You don't just put it in the paper, you really do anything you can to search. The same thing would be finding someone that's visually impaired. It might even be harder. So it really would be part of the strategic plan of how can we find out that, you know, we're not meeting someone's needs, and would they be able to get here to the library?
Which goes to, I know what I brought up the last meeting where there was a patron that used to come here, he was a donor also, he used to use it quite often.
Yes,
But we haven't seen him since pre-COVID.
yeah.
So I'm just wondering if he's still with us, number one, and two, if he visually would benefit from that, because I know he was the only one that I knew that was using it, so.
Just to tap on to what you were saying about the services for the visually impaired. We still have our connections with the Talking Book and Braille Center at the State Library, but we can have anyone coming in with a visual impairment or a physical impairment that makes them unable to read a book normally, that we can help them connect with the State Library to get services from them, from audiobook readers specifically for blind people, okay, and if they want to get Braille books, or we can help them hook up, get an electronic Braille reader. So we have all that abilities.
Okay, I only have two more points. Springtime's coming, and so I know our garden's going to be attended to. So I'm hoping that our local gardener will be able to give us like a spring proposal of, it's something that we've asked a couple of years for now.
You're talking about David Sweet?
Yes. So if we could get an idea of what he plans on doing before he does it,
Got it.
okay? Those are something we wanted. I just wanted to know what we do for the donations and loans. Like I did mention the books that were upstairs. Someone donated in memory of someone, and I offered to make book plates for those books. But do they then get turned into our regular? I wasn't sure how the ladies were doing it.
Ultimately, I think what's gonna happen is those titles that we're doing, right now we have them featured
Right.
with a sign, in memory of Carol Martin. And they'll stay there for a while. But ultimately, in time, they will get integrated into our collection as they normally would be placed, based on their label designations.
And I know Lorraine had mentioned there were 2 names, so I was waiting for her to give me the 2 names, and then I would just make the little book
What we
plates for
could
them.
do is we could generate a label marking that, donated a memorial to whoever, and stick that in the inside covering.
That's called a
So that
book
this
plate.
way that stays with
We
the
don't
book.
have to do that, we
Yeah,
can,
we don't
do
do
that,
that.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we would do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, our vice president, Johanna, actually printed out these. This was from the last webinar that we had. I know some were able to attend and some were not. This is all online. But if you're interested in any of these being printed for you, if you could just put your name on it, and then we'll make copies. This one's called Regulating Patron Conduct in the Public Library. This one's Understanding the Public Forum Doctrine and Constitutional Levels of Scrutiny or Review. Someone's gonna have to help me on that one. Applying the Law to Public Library Informational Spaces, and the Courts in Public Library Meeting Rooms. So these are all single page, a little double-sided, so that it's less paper, but if you're interested, please just put your name on it, and then, I didn't want to run off copies of all of them if you're not even interested, so.
But, and it was, a Zoom
Yes.
call, and there's 2 parts, so that was part 1. There is gonna be another one on April 4th, I believe. The reason why I printed this out too, as far as the PowerPoint, is that particular Zoom was not recorded, so there's no recording that you can go back to.
Because a lot of them, if you just go to the NJLTA website, you can go and actually review it. This was one that they weren't able to videotape, so it has not been saved.
Get PDFs of that?
Pardon?
You have electronic copies of that?
This is what they sent out.
I have electronic copies of it. I've already sent it out to you.
Let's see, I have 2 other things. This one's not related to the library, but in a way it might be. I do this for my mother, I know it sounds ridiculous, but for Monmouth County, there is a paper shredding dates. And so I do have them all on my phone here. But what I think is important, especially since this is around tax time, so everything like 8 years older, we kind of get rid of. And they said county residents can shred up to 100 pounds. So you just bring it to this location. Has anyone else have done it? I've done it like every
My
year.
parents do it.
Yeah, it's so easy instead of, my mother used to rip everything.
Yeah.
But you take it to the location, I think it's between like 8 and 12, what does it say here? 9 and 1, the following locations, and they spread out throughout all of Monmouth County. So like the next one is this Saturday, no, next Saturday at Atlantic Highlands. Then there's one April 15th, April 22nd, Brielle, Long Branch. The closest one to us that's coming up is in Neptune, that's August 5th. Just in case you wanted to stay really close. But if you want, I can send this to you, just so you have the dates for this location. And I find it very helpful, because I'm so tired of shredding through the machine. It goes in, then it gets jammed, and this is sticky, and then it's just a hot mess. So this way you just take it there, and throw it in with all of the others. If someone wants to try to get and put all of those little pieces together to find your information, they're gonna have like a terrible time. But I found that helpful. So that was just community service that I was sharing there. And I think that's it. Anyone have any questions, comments? Public session? Oh, wait, old business, I'm sorry, old business? Okay, new business. I think we've kind of covered that with some of the upcoming events. And I did ask that hopefully we can have some of the upcoming events just kind of circulated so that we know what's coming up. I know you have the dates for the outside ones, like the
Concerts.
The
yeah.
concerts
Yeah,
and
there are
stuff
some
like
other
that.
events that we have lined up,
Yeah.
already booked and stuff, so I
some
can
of
get
them
them.
that night still in there, because I've been talking to people as I was walking around yesterday. Okay,
Could I just interrupt for
Sure.
a second? The old business, new business, if it's discussed in one of our
reports.
reports, it wouldn't need to go in there, but if it's not, you would report it or discuss it at that, but it's really mainly for if we need to vote on something. That's why that's there. So if there's something that we need to vote on, that's where we should do it, save things from the report and put it there.
Okay, so now we're on to comments and public session.
I'll go as quick as I can. You brought up voting, so I was wondering why there's no motions, as far as like the architect and the engineer was here and you're going forward with getting bids, like there's no need for motions for any of those stuff, or?
Once the bid process is finished, yeah, then it would have to be approved by the board.
So there's no motion
Well,
to approve, to create the bid?
to create the bid, because at the time, they were the engineer and the architect are actually for the town.
Yeah.
So it would not be voted on by this board for that they're doing it.
Okay, so has the bid been started?
The
Did they
bid
write it?
process, first they have to do is have all the companies come, take a look at the project and see if they're going to, if someone's going to put in a bid. But the bid process in terms of putting it out yet, no, they're first letting the companies, take a look at it, and then they're gonna get in the process.
Are we paying John from Neptune?
Are we paying John? Yes.
What are we paying him?
It's $50 an hour.
Okay, there was a mention of the events for the rest of the year. Is there a layout of the events for the rest of the year, or there's things, are they coming out, are they being
Well,
published?
the summer concerts are already laid out on the
Right.
website. We're still working on the remaining cultural events like Cinco de Mayo, working on a date for that. We do have a couple of events coming up that I haven't formally announced, but they have been set dates on. One is an author time one is, I believe it's gonna be in May. Bhante Surajava, who is a Buddhist monk, will be coming and doing a presentation on meditation and things like that. He has a big following around here. I spoke with his assistant in Sri Lanka over Zoom a week ago. Really nice guy. Reminds me of Spock.
That's okay,
Yeah.
I know Bruce wants to keep it moving, so.
Yes,
I
so
just-
anyway.
So
anyway,
Juneteenth, are you doing Juneteenth?
Yes, we are doing Juneteenth.
Okay, so I know Cinco de Mayo is a huge corporate moneymaker for America and everything, but I know all of us intelligent people know that it's not really Mexico's independence.
Correct.
And I was wondering, as the library, the authority, maybe we could avoid Cinco de Mayo and do September 16th, which is actually the Mexican independence, but that's just my thinking.
Yeah, and I
as-
think, can I just interrupt for a second?
Oh,
Can I
yeah.
respond? Yeah. So that's going to be part of the strategic plan. That's already something that we've talked about and thought about. Would there be a better event in terms of?
Yeah, it's just really not appropriate for the library to be doing
So
Cinco de Mayo, because
we,
Mexico
but
doesn't
we're
even
going to put
celebrate
that
it.
out as a survey question.
Okay, the 3D printers and the computers, in the shed. Last time we talked, you said they were in the shed, they were coming back.
Yes, yes. Well, we have to address a couple of security issues.
Mhm.
The PCs in question are very small. They're Mac Minis, so they're only like small things. I'm looking into how best to secure them. We have to reevaluate how that door is left open or allowed for people to use, so that we minimize the risk of theft or otherwise in here. They're
Okay,
going to
again,
go.
I'm not trying to
They
be-
plan to be put right behind you on those desks there.
Mhm.
Okay, and we're also looking into what other equipment we should add to it, such as the appropriate webcams for Zooming and things like that. So
Okay,
when it goes in, it has to go in right.
Yeah, I've just been looking for these for 2 years.
The 3D
But anyway,
printers are not.
you know, the heat was off in the gym for at least three days, so I really don't go for a high success level, but that's okay. Last time you talked about a shed. So you have the shed in the gym at the Belmar. You know, do you still really need another shed if you have this shed and that shed? Or am I overthinking this? Or just my thoughts? These are just my thoughts of what I'm talking about and everything.
I'd have to talk to Barry and see how it's used and take a look at it,
The way, well,
we're not, at this point, we are not in need of another shed. It was just the board had said that we should consider that in the future if we do need it. But right now, we were able to clean out the shed, and we have space now, but it is something that we're considering, but we're not definitely doing.
And how can the public follow the money? There's no audit of the library, there's no, I hear the numbers every month, but, you know, the whole big picture, we're talking about almost $800,000. So the whole big picture, there's no, I've investigated with the town for the last 4 years, there's just a single line on the library. It has no details, there's no itemization. I opened all these documents, and there's just nothing out there for me. You know, like when you go to any organization or town or anything, yes, what's that?
Yeah, this is exactly, you're asking for, this is GAAP accounting, right here, just like
Okay.
the school district, right, same thing, public entity. And these are specifically for each line item, you were just saying, and what is spent in each line item.
So where can the public get that?
You'd have to Oprah it.
I did.
You know, and so.
What exactly is the title that I'm Oprahing that all right, I'll try
It's the budget
again.
account status transition audit trail.
So I asked for the Belmar Library audit, and April told me that the Belmar Library was audited within the town, so
Well-
she sent me the whole audit for the town.
You asked for the audit. This is an audit trail, this is a document, this is a report, this isn't the actual audit. Audit is done by an accountant
Right.
that does it, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
So this is what keeps track of each line item. So for example, it has what was budgeted, what was spent, right? What's
Yeah,
encumbered,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
all
what
that,
was
you know,
budgeted, yeah.
okay. So it's all
Okay,
here.
all right, so I'll ask for
But
that and see what.
let me, it's a new administration. I know last administration wanted you to Oprah it to get this information.
Well, I didn't get any information, so it's
Okay, well,
okay.
I was
We'll
told that
see.
you had to Oprah it and it had to be done through town, so that's,
Uh-huh.
but let me do a little research, and if you don't mind, I can email you or,
Yeah.
call you.
Yeah, there's
and-
just a
and
lot of money involved.
See if it, if I can just give you a copy.
Yeah.
But I have to follow because the budget is done there, and that's their policy, I have to follow. So let me talk to the new administration and see if you can get a copy of this.
I appreciate that, that'd be great.
Yeah.
And, I have one more question. Any children's programs added? Are you doing great? The seniors in Belmar are doing wonderful now between the rec program, the library. I'm so impressed, the housing, we're gonna think of some things for them. The seniors are back up on track. I'm very, very, very happy, and I hope the seniors are too. I mean, I'm a senior, so I'm happy, that's all that matters. Children's programs in the library, have we built up anything?
So our main goal is to first start with Saturdays.
Mhm.
And that's where our numbers are low in terms of people coming to the library. So two of our new employees have taken it upon themselves. I've helped them communicate with the teachers, the kindergarten, the first grade, the preschool teachers. They're identifying a program, they're working with the teachers in terms of what do you think would be best for us to have on Saturdays. We've also had those same people go over and meet with Danielle in terms of comparing what's being done at the school. We're also meeting with the reading specialist that's coming to the school to talk about what we're going to do with the summer reading program. But we want to first focus on Saturdays because it will do two things. It will increase our Saturdays, people coming on Saturdays, and it will develop a program for children. And that's when they're available now until the summertime. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, great.
But we're taking ideas from the first and kindergarten and preschool
I'm
teachers. Yeah,
gonna
but,
send one to you, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they should, that's great.
There's a great woman, she's a former elementary ed special ed teacher. She's been doing sensory bins at public libraries, and for 1 to 4, 1 to 5-year-olds. Huge, she's awesome. I had her actually at my daughter's birthday party, and the kids loved it. So she does story time, and she reads sensory bins that match the story. Really cute activity, and I know you guys actually.
Give me the name. Yeah, great. Would it be appropriate, our goal is to first concentrate on pre-K to 2.
Perfect age group,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, great.
Yep.
So we met with the first grade teachers, and we're going to be going into the second. What's that?
Some of the classes are.
Yeah, they're gonna be coming in, yep, in the preschool.
Hmm?
Yeah, everybody's, and a few of our special ed kids. So we're on it.
Okay,
I know we're
great.
not moving as quickly as you want us to, but we're trying. Okay.
My goal before I leave this board is to get something for the teens and tweens. That's been my push. Because I know we're getting the young, we're getting the older, I want to get those.
I have something for you.
Oh,
They
good.
just look at
I was
that.
talking to some of our teens and tweens that come upstairs who use computers a lot. And I asked them what would be they interested in. One of the things they mentioned was a Pokemon club.
Oh my God, they would love that.
If we have a
Is it still?
Pokemon,
It's like.
it's still,
Is it really?
if we
It's
had a
back.
Pokemon club or activity here, they would be all over.
It's bad.
It's really,
It's
really
back,
good.
huh?
Yeah.
Is
So I'm looking into that.
Really?
I'm gonna look into how we can do a Pokemon.
Because when you said that to me, I was thinking it was like, what, 10, 12, 15 years ago? So I'm like, Louis, you're out of date.
No, they're telling me, yeah, Pokemon. They were really all excited about it. Are you gonna really do it? I go, I'm looking into it. What do you like?
I think I mentioned last meeting also like a digital media club, like a video,
Production?
editing,
Yeah.
yep. That's something that we used to have. I was actually the advisor for it, but I stepped down.
We had the rudiments.
It's not up there.
It's changed, so
Yeah.
a lot of the kids that I had done it with for, X amount of years are like, Mrs. Arnold, when are we gonna do it? And I feel so bad, but I logistically can't right now, just with childcare issues for myself, so, but they miss it, and I feel bad, because I had the same.
We had the beginnings
where-
of one at the makerspace.
Yes, that's what I was just gonna say,
We had the
with the
beginnings of one.
cartoons and
Yeah.
storyline, and yeah, it was really nice.
But unfortunately, the makerspace is no longer. So
Could be
we
done with
could
the
probably,
minis.
we could probably fake some of that back.
And that would be your into doing Instagram, because those kids would run with that.
Oh, there you go. Yes,
Have to be.
You'd be
make sure-
honored.
Yes.
I always recruit before it got posted, but,
So
it
that's
would be fun.
something I can talk to Jimmy about in terms of maybe bringing it here, splitting the stipend or something, maybe being a staff member, maybe if you think of someone that might be interested from the school that would be good.
Now
in
that I have
terms
my
of-
childcare team there, I would like to take
Yeah.
it back. Yeah, I do, yeah. The sign-ups.
Then we gotta get you off the board again, you can't work for the.
So just food for thought.
Okay,
Under the shared service agreement, she can work for the school
yeah.
and participate in library activities. There are loopholes, my friends.
Anything else to add?
No, no, thank you.
Someone like to make a motion?
So make that motion, we adjourn.
Bruce has made it, any second? 7:30 on the
31.
dot.